weekends, considering all we've had so far this season. We were due a dull one, weren't we?
Yeah, we've had. Was
We've
it
had
2
about
or
4
3
there.
0-0?
Yeah, I'll get the results up now. And I do have our predictions as well, boys.
Oh God.
Well, it's
No.
a sign of the times, boys. You know, I pick and choose when I swan into these podcasts, and when I got a feeling in my waters, it's going to be a bit of a dull week. It's going to be a bit of a dull week on the old soccer front. Yeah, I dive out. I've not really got much to say, but I'm back this week. I'm back, baby, and it's going to be so much better this weekend.
No.
Am I right, Josh?
You're just not allowed to go in.
Southampton, fuck him.
I mean, shall I rattle off the results and what we think? Dead quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Leeds beating Villa 3-0. Dale, me and you called that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Tell you what, Leeds were unreal. Leeds were fantastic. Like Bamford, what a fucking striker he's turning out to be. That second goal, fuck me.
Did they want to give him any more of a gap to hit it, though? Do you know what I mean?
Mate.
I could have pinged it into that.
No, mate, come on. They've covered his left foot perfectly there, knowing he's got no right foot, and he's like side foot knuckleballed it into the one place that he could. Come on. Like, I want to slate Bamford as much as anyone, but that goal was class.
Mate, if I'm scoring headers at weekends now, I can score right footers, all right?
He's got 6 goals now.
I know.
Good start. 6 goals.
He's proven me wrong, guys. I writ him off right from the start. I thought he was a striker at best.
I don't think he'd do fuck all. I hate Leeds, and even I've got to admit, he played all right last week. Yeah. They're quite decent, to be fair. 3-0 against Villa, who are undefeated, who beat... what was that team they beat 7-2? We'll come back to that. It escaped me. But
Wait. Aston Villa beat someone 7-2?
They did, mate, yeah.
Nah, you're chatting shit. Not having it. No one in the Premier League would lose 7-2 to Aston Villa.
Someone who got outscored by Mitrovic in the Championship got a hat-trick in that game.
Incredible.
Just never got on again.
Talking of flopping teams, West Ham 1, City 1.
Yeah, do you know, it's weird with City because they're still favourites to win the league, but they keep stuttering at the minute, don't they? They keep getting these results. Like, I'm watching at the minute against Marseille, and they're winning 1-0, but they still don't look like they look like they're playing well, but they don't look like they've got that cutting edge just yet.
Don't like somebody either.
I think and Ruben Diaz, I think, looks like a great signing. He looks absolutely solid. And they've got De Bruyne back now. Ferran Torres scored tonight as well. So that's, I think, his first goal maybe for the club. And so they do look vulnerable, though, still, somehow, and they're not quite clicking. And I think that the problem is anyone could win it this year, the way it's going. Like, everyone keeps throwing points away. Liverpool were kind of lucky again as well.
That was it. Liverpool lost 7-2. That was the team.
Oh, that was it, yeah. Speaking of Liverpool, decent result against Sheffield United. Tricky game, that. Banana skin, I always think. Even with Sheffield United's form, they're still a good team, as far as I'm concerned. I just don't think they're a little bit like Brighton, I think. They've not got the points total that reflect their performances.
I think Dale said it right. Like, they haven't been thrashed this season. They haven't been shit. They've been very unlucky in a few games, and they're lacking a real goal scorer, aren't they? Like, let's be honest, goal scoring is not what they've done. But yeah, with the injuries they've got, rest in peace Van Dijk. There's a good result.
Speaking of title contender, go on, Josh. Sorry.
I'm just saying, I'm watching them at the moment, and they look really threatening, but they are playing enough inside. So,
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Speaking of title contenders, obviously the new kids on the block, but the ones that everyone wants to speak about are Spurs, and I thought that was quite a good. It was like it's a typical Championship form win.
You just dipping in and out of results there. I've got them all in an order, and you're just picking and choosing like a pick and mix you.
Yeah, but no, mate. I'm talking about the games that matter. I don't give a shit about like the likes of West Brom and fucking.
I want to talk about Fulham versus Palace. Said no one ever.
Somebody's talking about Woolworths coming back, and he's going all pick a mix on us.
Hey.
That's
Is that true?
now-
Is Woolworths back?
It's a hoax.
No, it was a massive hoax this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Premier League could call me up and say, we'll give you $14.95 to watch Palace and Fulham. I'd be like, thanks, you're all right.
So I'll take $14.95 and I'll take it to Witten Albion. Which we'll talk about in a bit, lads.
Yeah, definitely. It's good, that.
Yeah, no, Spurs, good result, that, for me. Like, Burnley, again, Dale said it, would be a tough result.
Well,
Yeah, it was a good result.
See, Adrian Durham was talking about this on Drive today, and he's the typically abrasive character anyway, but he was going on like, it's not a great result. Like, it's just what you'd expect against Burnley. They said they've lost 4 out of 5 games this year so far. And then Darren Goff was like, yeah, but it's Burnley away. Like, they're always typically great defensively. They're set up 4-2 and they make it difficult for teams. But Adrian was still saying, yeah, but the thing is, that's this season. They've lost 4 out of 5 games now. They're not having a good season at all. So you'd expect Spurs to beat them 1-0. So is it a great result? Not
yeah,
it's a win.
Darren Goff is a cricketer, so why are we even thinking of his opinion as legit?
You know what? It's 3 points. It's a win, so it's a great result.
Yeah, that's what Darren was saying.
Yeah.
Darren's on your side, Danny. It was Adrian Durham that was kicking off.
Right.
It was a shit
But
result.
my point still stands. He's a fucking cricketer. Why is he talking about football?
Do you know what? I'm gonna come back to you. I believe he's a Barnsley fan, isn't he, Darren Goff?
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to really love football to support Barnsley Football Club, and that's my argument against your argument, Danny.
You make a fair argument.
Touche.
Right, let's get this one out of the way, lads. The most boring 0-0 draw of the whole season so far, where Chelsea did a Mourinho special and parts the bus for 90 fucking minutes.
Do you know what? I was properly disappointed with Chelsea. I thought they were going to be a lot better against us, but they didn't look like they were arsed. They didn't look like they were trying. And I just got the sense that they either didn't know what they were supposed to be doing or they just couldn't execute what they were supposed to be doing. So they didn't really have a clear game plan. They weren't sitting back enough to try and counter-attack because they were quite open. But then they weren't getting the ball and attacking United with it. It was kind of slow build-up, no real plan. And we were at home, so fair enough. Like, they're the away team. But when you spend £220 million on players and you've got the likes of, all at once, Ziyech and Havertz and Werner and all these players on the pitch at the same time, you kind of think, what are you doing? I think we were the better team. I think we should have won. Like, their goalkeeper was the man of the match, Mendy, which says it all. And he pulled off some class saves. That snapshot from Rashford, where he sort of like didn't even take a touch as it came to him, and he just twisted on it and hit it. That was going top corner. That was, and it was a good save. But yeah, I mean, they'll be happy with the result. Chelsea, a point away at Man United, and we've lost 2 points there, I think. But we're in a difficult period of games, so.
My opinion on this has changed over the last few days because, and do you know what? I suspect Josh might think the same as me here because of the fact that he's not emotionally attached to either team. But for the four of us at the time, it was boring and it was fucking frustrating. Like, it was just a shit game. It's not what you'd expect from United and Chelsea, but with hindsight now, looking back, I don't think there's much more that we could have done. I think Lampard was very, very smart in the way that he set up his team. Chelsea may be the only team who are worse than we are at the back. The only big team in the Premier League who are worse than we are at the back in the Premier League this season. It is well known, well documented how bad they have been at the back. They've been shipping goals. I'm not even talking about. I mean, I know Spurs beat us 6-1, but Spurs have got quality going forward. Chelsea conceded 3 to West Brom. And West Brom couldn't score the other night against Brighton.
Southampton.
Do you know what I mean? And I think Lampard has looked us. I think he's done his own work. I think he's seen that we traditionally over the last couple of years of Ollie struggle against teams that just invite pressure on, because we seem to be sort of bereft of ideas in the middle of the park, which is where my Van der Beek frustration comes in, because I thought the game was crying out for him around the hour mark the other day, but that's a conversation for another day. And I think he's seen us get the 2 good results that we've got in the last week, and against good teams. I mean, PSG, people calling up radio stations and on social media and all that, oh, PSG with this and PSG with that. PSG, a couple of months ago, got beaten very narrowly in the Champions League final. Don't tell me that wasn't a good result. We went over to Paris and we beat PSG, and convincingly.
It's not a good result.
It wasn't even in doubt. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was actually quite smart game planning from Frank Lampard. I think he did exactly what he needed to do to get the result that he wanted. I think he came for a point. I think he's come away with a point, and I think they'll be absolutely... if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be delighted with that point. I thought it was a really good point for them. For us, frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting slightly more, especially after... I weren't expecting the result at Newcastle, but then we went and sort of backed that up midweek against PSG, and I was expecting just a bit more on the weekend, just to try and carry on a bit of that momentum. But I think, Chris, you just said it there. I think Chelsea set up similar to what the sort of the lower half teams did to us last season, and we just sort of struggled with that. And that's an issue. That's an issue we've got to suss out at some point, because there's going to be plenty of teams that are going to come to Old Trafford, just play a similar way again, and we might do okay against the big sides, at home and away. But I mean, do you still take a point against Chelsea at home?
No, not for me.
Not in the way
not for me. I pinned this on Ollie myself.
Yeah.
I understand that he was probably put in a really horrible situation with trying to pick the starting 11, going with 2 games in 2 separate competitions that both won, and won convincingly as well. But for me, the manner of the win against PSG warranted that team starting against Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely.
And all right, yeah, Martial couldn't play. Fair enough. You play Greenwood instead, or you play Cavani, for example. Give Cavani 60 minutes and then bring on Greenwood for the last 30. They both slot into that role perfectly. Or you drop one of them and you put Van der Beek in to play alongside Bruno. I don't understand why Telles was dropped. I think Telles was one of our best attacking threats. I think Tuanzebe proved himself as our best centre-back against PSG.
Yeah, he was immense.
That must have knocked that kid's confidence royally. He's had the game of his life against 2 of the best forwards considered in the world of football, and then he doesn't even get minutes against Chelsea. I don't get it. I really don't understand why. I understand why. Don't get me wrong, because he's picked the starting 11 that won in the Premier League, and that 11 deserved to play. But it's a team game, and them lads that were dropped, Daniel James, Juan Mata, they should have known what they did in Paris comparatively deserved carrying on. We look so much better with 3 at the back. We really do. And we weren't playing counter-attacking 3 at the back. We dominated that PSG game. We absolutely dominated it. And
they gave up after 1-1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looked like it was so strange. When we scored the winner, it looked like they kind of expected it. And they walked around. They weren't throwing their arms up as if to say, "Fuck's sake, we've gone 2-1 down." It was almost right, okay, as if they
expected it, didn't they?
They sort of walked off. It was such a weird atmosphere. It's kind of like they knew. And Neymar was playing as if he gave up because he was pocketed by Tuanzebe. Mbappe was playing as if he'd given up because he was pocketed by fucking Wan-Bissaka, who had probably his best defensive game of his career at Man United. Our defence just turned up, and it demoralised PSG so much that it looked like they stopped trying. Thought we're never going to break them down, so we'll just give up. And I heard on TalkSport that they were talking about this. I know I keep talking about TalkSport. It's because I sit and fucking listen to it all day while I work from home. But they were talking about the game, and they were saying that the performance of the team selection and the substitutes of PSG looked like they were being made by a manager who was waiting for a payoff, because it seems like it's coming. And I'm pretty sure that they've just gone 1-0. Oh no, they're tomorrow. Never mind. I saw that Marcus Thuram had scored, and I thought he was Leipzig, who I thought that, but we're playing them, so I'll shut up. Don't know what I'm talking about.
Can I, before we carry on with our serious opinions, and we'll move on to Southampton and Everton in a second, because I feel like Josh has got a lot to get off his chest. Let's just get one thing clear. Yeah, Neymar is to football what Pizza Hut Woking is to Prince Andrew. Fucking myth. Doesn't exist, mate. Don't believe in him anymore. It didn't happen. He just doesn't. He's never ever done anything in any game that's made me think, wow, he's great. He had half a decent season at Barcelona, the season they won the Champions League. And apart from that, I can't think of anything that Neymar's ever done where I thought he's an extraordinary player. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah,
what do you all think?
I have to disagree. I really do. I've watched him for seasons on end at Barcelona. That front three, Messi, and Suarez, were just... And maybe that comes with the territory. Maybe that comes with the fact that he was playing next to them too, and I will argue that, fair enough. But Coutinho couldn't hack it his first time with them too. There's plenty of players that have gone. Ousmane Dembele couldn't. There's plenty of players that have gone to Barcelona, tried to play with Suarez and Messi, and couldn't hang. Neymar was the one that could hang.
Well, this is my argument, right? I certainly think he's better than Dembele, and I think he's better than Coutinho. Of course I do. To be honest with you, I don't even think you can argue they're the same kind of players. I think Neymar's a good striker. I think he's a good forward. That's where it ends with me. I think he's good forward. He's got, let's be fair, he has got a very good goal return. But my argument is always going to be, he was playing in that front three of Barcelona. I'd score 10 a season for that front three of Barcelona. I'm convinced of it. They were absolutely quality. Best team in the world at the time. As shown with their form in it. Was it 2015? Was that the season they won the Champions League? That team was unreal.
Either 14 or 15, one of the two.
That team was unreal. He did play a big part, fair place in there. He had a good season. But, Brazil, everyone's going on about his goal-scoring record, Brazil. Fucking hell, man. Brazil must play fucking Uruguay, Paraguay, and on all those teams, every couple of times a fucking season. And then the rest of the teams. You name the other countries in South America. Go. Peru. Fucking Peru. I bet Brazil play Peru 7 times a year. Yeah, I could score a hat-trick every game against Peru. Who else is there? Fucking
Colombia.
Come
Chile.
on. They've not got anyone apart from James, who we all love, let's face it.
Yeah,
Chile haven't got fucking anyone. Sanchez is still their best player. And they're the good countries in South America. Not even fucking...
Costa Rica?
Oh, Gordon Bennett.
Santa Cruz.
Okay, Santa Cruz, mate.
And then the French League, the French League's got absolutely no one in it. There's a team in the French League called Nice.
And
There's another team called Brest. I can't take your league seriously. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm waffling anyway. I just don't see. I know
There's
you
a team
like
called
him.
Nonce.
Nonce, Brest, and Nice are all in the same league. What do you lads think? Dale, Josh, Lee, are you rating him as highly as Danny is? I just don't see it. I don't think he's world class.
I don't know. I think for me, he got his achievements at Barcelona because of who he was playing with, and it's kind of been galvanized by the fact that he's not done it at PSG, and even then he's got Mbappe and he has world class players around him, but I think that PSG are perennial bottlers and underachievers in the Champions League, and I think it's largely because they don't have a decent opposition week in, week out to then take the intensity into Champions League games where they're playing the best in Europe. Well, most of the best in Europe. There's teams like Midtjylland in there, which I don't understand. Anyway, but the thing is, I think that Neymar is. I think he was easily one of the best players for PSG on the pitch the other night, and so was Mbappe. But when you've got such a focal point in a team like that, it's so easy to nullify them, because if you mark them out of the game, then the rest of the team won't do anything, and they can't do anything because in training and because of who they are as egos, the tactics will most likely be get it to Neymar, get it to Mbappe. But when that's not working, they can't do anything. So I think they need to be playing in teams where they're gonna get more service and also not be the sole marked players on the pitch where they'll truly shine. And I'm not saying that that's like against Mbappe and Neymar. I'm not saying that, well, it doesn't matter, they should be world beaters, they should be able to beat everyone, because no one can beat everyone apart from Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo in recent times. They can't do that. Neymar maybe could, but he's not shown it enough that he can do that sort of thing. So I think that Mbappe looks like he might be destined for Real Madrid, where he'll shine much better. I don't care what every Liverpool fan thinks. He's not fucking going to Liverpool. He's going to Real Madrid. He had fucking Zidane posters and Cristiano Ronaldo posters on his walls. So he's going to Madrid eventually. But with Neymar, I can only see him going back to Barca. I can't see any other club in the world that would take him, mainly because of his temperament and his attitude. Like I was saying, he was one of the first to look like he'd given up when we were battering him the other night. Where else could he go other than back to Barca?
I'm quite interested in your opinion, Babs, because you've been critical of Neymar in the group and chat and stuff. But before I pass over to you, I will pose to you as a question. Leading on from what Lee said as well, what do we think? Because Mönchengladbach 1-0 up against Real Madrid. Get a fucking. What do you guys think on his next move? Like, leading on from what Lee said, because Neymar strikes me as someone who would thrive, as he did at Barcelona, in a team full of superstars, talented players who can give him the service. But the problem is Neymar wants to be the superstar. He wants to be centre of attention. So what do you do with him? I move on to you, Babs, because you've not had your say on it yet. But what would you do with him?
I'm probably of the similar opinion to you, Chris. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think he's all that. To be honest, he's never really interested me as a football player. Too flashy, bit of an ego, not for me. I'm just looking through some of his stats and that. If he was that good, he would have won a Ballon d'Or maybe if Messi or Ronaldo had an off year, but he didn't get anywhere near. I think the off year they did have it, Luka Modric won it. So I don't know. He's just not the. Yeah, he's just not for me. I don't like him, to be honest. I don't rate him. That's pretty much all I've got on it, to be honest. You've pretty much said it yourself, Chris. What I would say on him.
That is very PG for you, that, Dale.
I know, yeah. the conspiracy theorist in me says his next move is Manchester City. He signed a record-breaking deal with Puma just recently. Very similar to the deal that Paul Pogba signed with United, just coinciding with United signing with Adidas. The conspiracy theorist in me tells me that is a match made in heaven for when Sterling moves to Real Madrid.
Messi's leaving Barca in the summer.
Well,
so
maybe not, because he's fucking resigned, hasn't he?
Bartomeu just resigned tonight.
Yeah.
I was in the gym
tonight.
when you sent that, and I completely glossed over it, and you just reminded me, like, fucking hell.
He's won. Messi's won. He's bigger than Barcelona.
Yes.
Would that not mean Neymar may come back to Barcelona?
Potentially.
Yeah, because the one of the candidates for the new presidential position said that if he gets elected, he will do everything to bring Neymar back to the club, which I'm pretty sure.
Fucking soon, he's going to go back. You'd love to see it.
Yeah. So Neymar, Messi, and Ansu Fati will be their new front three by the looks of it.
By the way.
Yeah. So he's only 17. What's
Youngest
going on?
Classico scorer on the weekend.
Well,
Second youngest, apparently. Apparently, there was someone I swear I heard someone say there was someone in the 1940s or something like that who was younger than him, and they got the stat wrong. But still, it's bloody impressive, isn't it? 17 years old, he's scoring the Classico.
Yeah. Josh, were we just talking about Neymar, his influence, and his potential next move? Where would you see him going?
Everton.
Fucking knew it. I knew it. As soon as I saw a little smirk on his face, I was like, he's gonna fucking say Everton Football Club.
Best mates with Charlton, isn't he?
Yeah. Sign the thing.
I think he'll go back to Barcelona. I think he's wanted that move, and he's regretted going to PSG after 12 months, and he's wanted to go back since. But I'm fairly certain that Barcelona sued him successfully in the Spanish courts. So I don't know if that might prevent him from going back. It was in the millions. It was quite a bit of money, but yeah, money talks, doesn't it? They'll pay him so much more back if he goes back.
Yeah.
PSG won't be able to recuperate that money though. No chance.
No.
I don't think that they ever anticipated that they'd recuperate the money for the Neymar deal though. I think
Neymar
they might get it. I think that they were hoping that he was good enough to win them a Champions League. And they nearly did last year. So, obviously, it's not all him, but it is PSG. And I was shocked that they got that far, to be honest.
Well, we said it, didn't we? Like, last year was the year. They'll never, ever get that close again.
No.
Like, if they were ever going to win it, it had to be that year. Unfortunately, came against Bayern Munich, who are looking like they're going to set records like Barcelona did a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the present Bayern Munich is the most efficient and probably the best footballing Bayern Munich I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. The way that they're playing at the moment,
They're insane.
Like wiping teams aside and making them look average, like your Dortmunds and your Leverkusens.
It's daft. I've never seen. Look, Thomas Muller's the best example. He looked like he's rolled back the clock 5 years.
Yeah.
Lewandowski's 32 and he's in the best scoring form of his life again.
It's only us that can stop buying now.
Ollie Ball, 5 at the back. Twanzebe pocketing Lewandowski. Go on, son.
Listen, Bayern, I don't want to rub it in, but you scored 1 and we scored 2 in their ground. Get fucked.
I bet we'll start the same lineup against Leipzig that we did against PSG.
I hope we do. If we start that lineup against Chelsea, we'll fucking lose.
Yeah. And we've got Arsenal on Sunday.
You still won't play Van der Beek.
Such a weird situation. Like,
I think the media's overhyping this, I really do.
Well, he's
apparently
come out and said that he feels like he doesn't care how well he's done at Ajax or for Holland. He's had to start again and at the bottom of the ladder, and it's a challenge for him now to climb to the top of the ladder and prove to the club and the management that he deserves to be starting every game.
The thing is, if Nice are at home to Brest, it literally says nice Brest. Come on, like I can't take your league seriously. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Nice nonce. Nonce. Nice. Brest. Nonce. So many fun combinations. It was like, I was listening to TalkSport before. Like, Ali, I know you would have heard this, and it was either today or yesterday, and they were talking about the Ajax result. And Darren Goff was like, they played against, in his Yorkshire accent, the Venlo. And he went, who the bloody hell are they? The Venlo.
They've got a team in Holland called Excelsior.
Yeah,
That's like something out of the Knights Templar or something.
That is a condom brand, that.
Leech, like something that you put down your like Excelsior.
These fucking scammers are fucking stupid, aren't they?
Yeah, payee-detected.link. That sounds legit as a
I was
website.
going to reply, suck your mum.
Brilliant. I saw one on my Facebook before, some girl. I don't actually know her actually there. Some girl that went to Stockport College, I think, who I never actually spoke to, but I've got her on my Facebook anyway. And she goes, "Oh yeah, I just got one of these scammer messages before, and I nearly clicked on it before I realised I wasn't with Vodafone."
Those people deserve to be scammed.
That's me. Like, I've just clicked that link and not signed into anything because I've got a Halifax account. But fuck me, come on, lads.
I got done once. I got done by a
I've been done with fraud. Like I had bank ring me a good few years ago saying we're just approving this £2,000 purchase from PC Limited. I was like,
No, you're not.
no, you fucking not, mate.
No, I got one. It said it was from Amazon, and the short code was Amazon.gg, which was one of their actual like mobile short codes. So I thought, well, the link seems legit. So I clicked on it, and it said to verify that this is you. And it sounds so stupid now looking back on it, but it says to verify this is you, please complete the credit card details that we have on file for you. And it had the last 4 digits. Yeah. So I thought, well, they must know my credit card somehow. So I did it. And yeah, then I got a phone call and it was like, are you trying to make a purchase for £755 from this random company? I was like, nope. So I went on my statement and there was like 5 all for like 60 quid and 50 quid and things like, right, that's not me, and that's not me. And then they just reversed them straight away, luckily. So yeah, like that was a good one. That they got me with that one. So I'll give them that. But when it's something as obvious as that link
You're
there.
not on Vodafone. Fucking idiot.
Do you ever get the phone calls?
Oh, mate, I have a field day with the phone calls. I have a great time. I had one that rang me the other day in work, and I was in the back with one of the lads, and I put it on speakerphone, and he was like, we'll just let you know you've got like a phone upgrade available. And I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, what phone are you using at the moment? I was like, a Nokia. She's like, Nokia? It's like 3310. And she's like, that's great. He said, what network are you on? I was like, 1-to-1. I moved from Orange last year. And she's like, that's great. So we've got plenty of upgrade opportunities. I was like, fuck off.
We've got an upgrade on your Nokia 3310. It's this styrofoam cup with a piece of string. It's fantastic. Long
Nokia
range.
3010 still had Snake on it. Bang.
Oh, I got one last week, and it was like an automated one, and it went, well, you're something along the lines of it. You're suspected of tax fraud. Please press 1, or we'll take criminal charges or something.
Oh yeah.
And I was in my car, and I literally pressed the red button, and I was like, "I'll take my chances." Thanks.
Yeah. Sensational. Right, should we tackle the league leaders? Look at that face.
Where did it go wrong, Josh?
Alex Iwobi.
Where did it go right? It was a very bad performance from everybody. There wasn't anyone that stood out.
No.
It was. I mean, I've watched Match of the Day where obviously they do the legwork for me and they point out where players have gone wrong. Alex Iwobi and Gilby Sigurdsson are at fault for the first goal because they don't follow the men off the throw-in and they allow Ward-Prowse to run through the gap. The defenders should have tracked him as well. But initially it was Alex Iwobi's man. No, sorry, it was Sigurdsson's man and Iwobi didn't switch with him. And then obviously Pickford's not going to save anything because he can't anyway.
Pretends to be shocked.
Yeah, they just none of the players seemed interested. That form, it's like obviously everything that's happened since the derby. It seems like they've taken a knock in confidence.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think that the week that you've had in the press has affected players' confidence? Like we said it last week about Pickford, where it can't be nice opening your Twitter feed, but it just seemed like everyone in that Everton squad was dragged into it this week. Even the manager, Lee, you said it perfectly. No manager should be coming out and having to defend his player for an accidental challenge. Like, there's no way that should be happening. Do you think that kind of got... I don't want to take credit away from Southampton, don't get me wrong. Like, we'll talk about how good Southampton were in a second, but yous were favourites in that game by a mile, like league leaders, unbeaten. Do you think that had an effect? I mean, Richarlison and Coleman missing definitely had an effect.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Coleman being out, and obviously Godfrey's not a right back, he's a centre back. So he's playing out of position for a start, which isn't great. Well. I know he did a job in the derby, but you can't expect him to fill that role all the time. No. I think the difference is, and this is just my point of view, but you can tell that we're not a team that is regularly fighting for the title. I think if it was a team like Man City, Liverpool, and something like the derby, and there was all this negative press on the team, they would know how to handle that because they'd be used to it. And they're used to having the pressure of being a title contender on them. Whereas for us, it's a whole new thing altogether. So the slightest bit of negativity over a period where all we've been used to is positive claim from pundits and fans alike, the slightest negative, and then all of a sudden the mindsets change and they reverted back to the Everton of last season and every other season before that, where it's just a very negative performance. And even the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't really get going in that game. It was another one that sort of, all of them, James, all the main players that have been doing a great job for us so far. It was a non-existent performance from Everton, and I hope that they learn from that and they change back to pre-Southampton.
Yeah, well, we said this last week about Aston Villa that the key teller for them will be when they eventually lose a game and how they bounce back from it. And it's the same for your guys. Like, you're still top of the table. Let's not forget that. You are still top of the league. Yeah. But you're still there. You've still been fucking fantastic this season. Dinya's ban has been reduced just one game now, which is helpful. He'll be back for the United game, I think. I think is when he comes back for. I don't know how long Coleman's out for, and I know Richarlison's got another 2 games. I just think your team at the moment is a starting 11. I don't think you're a squad. You've got a very, very good starting 11, and you take 2 of them pieces out of it, like Richarlison and Coleman, and all of a sudden, you just look very average. Even with the world-class players like James and Alan, who quite clearly is class. Well, Calvert-Lewin looked lost without Richarlison. He looked absolutely lost because Iwobi gave him nothing.
You know how I said I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 podcasts ago, but I said that although Richarlison's not banging in like DCL is, he's an absolute nightmare for defenders. And because he is like that, it allows DCL, it takes pressure off Calvert-Lewin and allows him to score the goals. Yeah. So that was evident against Southampton. Because you've not Richarlison causing absolute mayhem for the defence. Like Walker-Peters didn't really have much to do. He was up attacking against us for most of the game. You'd have thought that he was a right winger, the way that he was playing.
Karen Carney said it quite well because I was listening to it on 5 Live because I was in work. And she was saying, like, you could see Calvert-Lewin drifting into what he was last season, just trying too much, trying to drift out wide, trying to link up play, where this season, like I said, because of Richarlison and James, all he's had to do is just stay within them lines of the goal. And that's where he's most deadly. But because of Richarlison not being there, I think he was trying to put too much on his own shoulders, and that's not how he's effective anymore.
And one thing I did notice, and I said this, I don't rate Alex Iwobi. I've made that very obvious on the podcast, and I don't think you guys, as football fans, rate Alex Iwobi. You know he's a shit footballer, and Everton I don't even know what they were thinking when they bought him from Arsenal. I don't even know what Arsenal were thinking when they brought him through their systems, to be honest. But Anthony Gordon, when he came on, there were the flashes of brilliance that I was expecting from him, and this is why I'd like to see him start over Alex Iwobi.
Well, you've been saying since Richarlison got suspended, bring Gordon in. That was your first thing that you said. I'd like to see Anthony Gordon come into the squad.
Right at the very start of the second half, it was a run where he did an overlap and played a ball in, And I think James Rodriguez nearly got on the end of it. He probably should have done better, to be honest. He was running in from the right side. He got into the middle of the box, and I think a defender must have took it off his foot or something. But that was something that we didn't have for the first half, which makes me think, well, just start him. Just play him from the beginning. And then at least he's going to cause, half of the havoc that Richarlison would cause, but half more than Iwobi would.
I think from what I saw so many occasions where Iwobi, when it was 0-0, he had the ball on the left and he looks panicked every time he's got the ball, and he looks frantic, as if shit, what do I do now? There's no composure, and he consistently makes the wrong decision on what to do. And he backs himself into a cup while he's trying to decide on what to do, and then loses the ball. And it happens time and time again. And then, as you said a minute ago, he doesn't track back either properly. Like you said, it was their first goal came from him not helping out in defence. And I think that Ancelotti must look at him and think, is that all I've got? As cover? And it's like Danny was saying, they have got a class starting 11, but maybe not necessarily the squad depth. And I think when Gordon came on, he showed him up. He was obviously so much better. And
Gordon played in starting 11, in my opinion.
Yeah, he can't start again. Iwobi, he's terrible. He's really, really bad. He's a liability.
The thing about Alex Iwobi for me, sorry Collins, I know you want to have a quick word on it. Alex Iwobi for me has all the makings of a good player. He looks strong. He's got pace. He's athletic, tall. So, he could threat in the air because he's got pace in his winger. He can threat down the wing and the channels. He hasn't got an end product. But from a winger, if you can assist, I'll take that. And he's strong. So, similar to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's an athlete and he's strong and he can push people off the ball and he can hold it up, hopefully. But he's playing with absolutely zero confidence. And for a player of his price and a player that's been playing in the Premier League for years, why has he not got any confidence? He played for Arsenal, who are a bigger club than Everton, or have been in the last 20 years. I just don't understand what he needs to become a better player. So I think the only way that he is ever going to fit into a football club is if he takes a step back and goes into a championship club, which is where he probably should be playing, in my opinion. Yeah. That's where he'd make an impact. He is a Premier League player.
Just as you were saying that, Josh, I mean, you've just listed some of these strengths and stuff. If you had bought him for 10 million, for example, would your opinion of him be a bit more of the higher praise than obviously they've paid, 40 million?
If we bought him for 10 million, I would give him less of a hard time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, I would, because for a £10 million player, my expectancy is there. For a £40 million player, I'm expecting, similar to, well, if you look at other players in the Premier League that cost 40 million, they're world class. So I'm expecting world class performances, and he's not delivered one of those.
Didn't cost much far off that, did he?
The only time I've ever praised him was when he put a good half in against Norwich, and I got ridiculed.
But I think that's a really good point from you, that Dale, and I think that's probably the reason why United are getting rinsed so much in the media at the moment, is because we spent 45 million on a bench warmer so far, who's not really done much, or not been given the opportunity to do much in Van der Beek. But before we move on to that, and I'm sure we want to discuss that anyway, I agree with what you have all said. I don't think, realistically, even Josh and your wildest dreams, I don't think any of us expected that Everton were really serious. I mean, you saw from the games, Everton weren't going to win the title. He wasn't going to happen. I think I don't even think Everton are at the stage yet where they've got the starting 11 that they want. I think you've probably, if any Everton fans being honest with himself, and I challenge Josh on this now, I think you've maybe got 7 out of the 11 there now. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 that you'd want to change. Pickford, I'd say another centre back with Keane. because I think Keane's done really well this season. He's proved that he can be consistent, which is fair enough. Coleman's been a fantastic servant to the club, but he's bobbing on in age. Maybe another right back. Your midfield is fantastic. I think the midfield is what's obviously with Calvert-Lewin as well, but the midfield is what's really shone through for Everton this season, because you've got the dynamic right in there. But to be honest with you, even going forward, Richarlison's looking much better, and he's got much more of an end product in terms of his support play for Calvert-Lewin. He seems to have accepted his role in the team, as he's not going to be the main man who's getting all the goals. But I'd say it's a defence and goalkeeper that Everton need to sort out in order to be a top team in the Premier League. And then you're talking about squad depth on top of that. So if you think of transfer cycles, I mean, how many players did Everton buy in the last transfer window? 3, 4? For a summer transfer window?
4. Got that left back from Marseille, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think his name's Nkong. And
He's when he played the other night.
Yeah.
He's the one that'll fill in for Luca Dean whilst he's suspended for this game. And I'm thinking that he's going to put in a really good performance for us, to be honest, because he's looked great when he played in the Cup.
He's looked decent, to be honest. I think he's a good signing.
I think I completely agree. I think we need a new goalkeeper, and I think Ancelotti knows that. That's why he's brought Olsen in on loan. We need a right back, because Godfrey's going to play centre half next to Keane, I think, or Mina, depending on who's playing the best. But I have no faith in Mina personally. I think he's a liability. So if Keane's on fire like he is this season for us, play Godfrey next to him. He's fast, he's strong, he's got youth on his side. So is Keane, really. Keane's, 26?
Yeah, he's not old, Keane.
No. Luca Dean is a starting 11 player for us week in, week out. Midfield sorted now. I'd like to see another striker come in. I don't want DCL getting comfortable and just expecting first 11 every week. I'd like to see somebody challenge for that. Richarlison's there, and then a right winger would be nice.
Yeah.
The problem you got with James is he's not a conventional right winger. You're kind of starting him there to fit him into that midfield. It would be interesting if you could play almost like a diamond move, if you brought another striker in or have Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin up front together, and then just shift James into like a central cam role. But then you have the issue of your left and right backs getting exposed there. Like Digne and Coleman are good enough, don't get me wrong, but while one's suspended and one's injured, you can't be doing that at all. But James don't give Coleman much protection at the back either, which is also an issue.
I think I wouldn't alter the left wing position of Richarlison the way that it's working at the moment. I think it's a key position for us. We look really dangerous in that area of the field, and it has shown with Calvert-Lewin's goals this season, because most of them come from that end. So I prefer to keep that style and that formation personally. And if obviously have a plan B, because we've spoken about this with Man United, you seem to have a plan A and you just stick to plan A and hope that it works.
Yeah.
Every team in the Premier League needs more than a plan A. Otherwise, you're just not going to get anywhere.
No, I agree completely.
I think that right wing position might be even more important for Everton to address than it apparently was for United all summer, because you've hit a nail on the head there. Your left-hand side is Digne and Richarlison, which is a fantastic left-hand side. And you're getting delivery all day long from that side for DCL. On the right-hand side, you've got Coleman, and then you've got, I mean, you can sit James out there, but like you said, Danny, I prefer to see him central. I think Everton are probably best playing like a 4-2-3-1. So you stick Decore and Allan in front of the back four, and then you've got your three behind DCL, but that's the problem. So you've got Calvert-Lewin up top, you've got James sat behind him, you've got Richarlison on the left, Udi put on the right.
Well, they started the season with that, with James on the right, and Jesus Christ, who's speaking on there?
What is that noise?
I know. They started with James on the right, and Andre Gomez was almost playing as like a left cam. And don't get me wrong, I love Andre Gomez. I think he's a phenomenal footballer. I think some of the way he plays football is beautiful to watch. He's so silky on the ball. He's not a left cam. He hasn't got the legs for it. He's not tracking back. You play Richarlison there, but then do you limit potentially him getting as close to Calvert-Lewin as you want? Because I think those two have got a really good partnership. And then, like you said, you've moved James infield on the right. Who'd you put there? Who's your option? You've lost Theo Walcott. You can't play Iwobi there because he's gash.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to try playing Bernard there, isn't he? If he can get away with it.
I'd play Nkunku there, or play Nkunku left winger and then push Richarlison over to the right, because I think Nkunku's best work in that cup game that he played was further forward.
Yeah, he does look really good in that position. That Digne runs into that channel all the time over towards the corner flag. That looks to be the area that he can be most effective. I agree with you there.
Yeah. Before we move on, lads, let's just credit Southampton, because I feel like we've put all this victory just on Everton being shit. I think Southampton have turned it around again. I know you two, Josh and Dale especially, predicted them as their almost a surprise package of the season. They were going to kick on from last season. They've had a bit of a shaky start, and they're now sitting in 6th.
They played brilliant.
I was just going to say, I think it was more bit of a sort of half and half, that game. I think it was half Everton, obviously not being at the very best, whether that was because they're a couple of key players were out injured, but also I think Southampton have now, shall we say, like Ollie says, United have had their pre-season now. I think Southampton might have had their pre-season.
Yeah. Now
starting to get a bit of form. They've won 3 of the last 4. They're sitting in 6th on 10 points after 6 games. I think they would have been happy with that at the start. But yeah, I thought it was quite good. But yeah, I think they've probably just started to hit a bit of form now, like there was sort of back end of last season. I think they've got back into that sort of that groove, that rhythm.
It's the manager, in it. Ralph Hasenhüttl, I rate him. I think he's top class.
A lot of people are saying that he might follow the same trajectory as Maurizio Pochettino, where he will go to a bigger club following a successful run at Southampton. And I can see it myself. Like, he gets him playing in such a great way. Like, I just can't see him going down from Southampton, if that makes sense. Like, the only way is up with him. So it'd be interesting to see what he can do.
It takes some manager and management of a squad to turn around from a 9-0 loss and then to go on the run of form that they've been on since then. Like, that takes a lot. And we have to give credit to Southampton's board there as well, because they could have easily gone, sayonara, we'll go and bring in Mark Hughes until the end of the season, which would have seen them relegated and resulting in them not sacking him, got them more points than Leicester from that point after that 9-0 loss, and now they're sat in 6th. He's kept faith in Che Adams, who at times last season looked dog shit, but has repaid it this season. Looks like him and Ings have finally got the partnership that he must have seen when he signed him from the Championship. The goal he scored against Chelsea, especially the way he didn't give up on anything, I think he works really hard, and I think he's quite key for how that team ticks going forward.
I think Danny Ings as well. He's carried his form on. He's got 4 goals, 2 assists this season, which is a boost for them. Just going back to their form. I mean, I'm looking back at the last, probably since that 9-0 drumming. I think they've got about 55 points in the last 20, 30 games, which is like top 6 sort of form.
Oh God, yeah. They've got actually one of the best teams since that point.
Yeah,
that was 12 months ago on Sunday. That was.
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I was in Chicago packing up before I left. God, that feels like a lifetime ago.
That does feel like a lifetime ago when you were in Chicago.
Like, it was. I was literally, because obviously over in America that was on at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was sorting my case and stuff out because I was leaving like the next day. I was sat watching it on TV, because over in America it's great because you just have the Premier League on like normal TV. Because
I mean, they don't have to pay $14.95 for a game.
No, do you know what? I mean, that's a crazy notion. That I don't know anyone would pay $14.95 for one game. I mean, but yeah. I mean, and I remember sitting thinking, oh, 1-0, oh, 2-0. What? And it just kept going and going and going. It was amazing. But that feels like an age ago. That
full credit Southampton. I think they're going to have a fine season. They've got it spot on now.
Yeah, definitely.
Top work. Right, talking about 1495 boys. We had some 4-1 top of representation at the lower league boys the other day. Witten Albion FC. Lee, Josh, you went to go to the game. What was your experience like, lads?
Yeah.
Wet.
Yeah. The fucking heavens opened. It was class though. Like I've never been to like a lower league game before, and to be honest with you, as a big football fan, I've not really been to that many football games because they're always on Saturdays, and I've always played rugby, so I've never had the chance really. But then going to the non-league game, I kind of felt like it might have been a bit like going to a pub, like a local pub in an area that you're not from, and you walk in and everyone turns around and looks at you as if to be like, "The fuck's that?" But it wasn't like that at all. It was fantastic. Like the COVID safe stuff was brilliant. Like it was really well planned out, and it was clear one entrance to go in, one exit to go out. They were dead kind, like really, really nice to us. Everyone was dead friendly. I had a chat with about 5 different people, just being around at the bar, at the toilets, walking about, and it was a great experience. And to top it all off, we got a penalty right in front of us, which was great, and they got the win against Everton Collieries. It was a bit of a sketchy ending because they pulled one back about 72nd minute or something like that. Everton did, but the lads held on, and that's quite a few unbeaten. I think 4 wins in a row now it might be for Witten. So all in all, brilliant day, and they've been fantastic. And they actually shared the video that Collins put together from our photos. They shared a video on all of their social media platforms. So I think they were really appreciative of having people that have never been before like go along and have a watch. And even our missuses enjoyed it. Well, the first half anyway. They
enjoyed it.
Well, they won't like me saying this, but they sat in the bar for the second half and had wine.
So in terms of, because we've been pushing footy for 15, like you took your £15, what did you get from it?
Ticket, chips and curry.
Banging that. Banging.
I think the tickets were a bit more expensive than some places are. I mean, I say expensive loosely. It was £11. So
what league are they in?
Northern Premier, innit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, so the step below conference then.
Yeah.
So they're going to be around the £10-11 mark, which is still for a live game of footy. Yeah. If you can go with £15, get a ticket and get some scran or a pint, like that's banging. That
you couldn't do that at United.
How much is County? County's about £15, isn't it?
£15, yeah.
Chester's £15, so it is about right that.
Well, I think for £11 for the ticket, you'd have been able to get a pint at the bar for the remaining £4. It's just I decided to get chips and curry for £2.50 instead. So it wasn't £15 really. It was what's that, £13.50.
Yeah. And you said about the COVID measures as well, like everything was sound secure, because like we want to try and encourage people to go themselves. And I know like COVID is probably a worry to a lot of people, but you felt safe there, like everything was right.
Yeah, definitely.
You went to the bar and they stopped you, didn't they? They asked for your numbers and they made sure that there was like a COVID socially distanced spot for you to go to. And there was 5 in our party. Luckily, there was a table of 5 available, so they sat us down, and then it was table service. And like Lee said, it was 1 entry, 1 exit. It was all one-way system. So yeah, they've
brilliant.
Exactly what they're doing. It's very safe. I would actively encourage everybody, if rather than paying for pay-per-view ball and putting money into Sky's pocket, I would definitely encourage people to watch their local team.
Not to scaremonger, but when all this is over and I get to the next Chester game, I'm literally going to lick the face of the first person I see. You're having it. I'll be so
When
happy.
you mentioned about not going to a lower league game, obviously the standard compared to what we've watched on TV is obviously going to be lower, but were you happy with what you paid to watch? Like, was the standard a lot lower or better than what you were expecting?
So I wasn't expecting it to be like Champions League quality, obviously,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it was good. In fact, the goal, the penalty came from an amazing touch by the centre forward for Witten. The ball sort of came up, and he sort of touched it up to himself on the turn. Played himself in and just got a touch ahead of the goalkeeper who took him out, and it was a fantastic bit of play. But I think you're going for the atmosphere and for the social element and to see something live and happening in front of you.
Yeah.
And the people where it matters the most to them, because they're not prima donnas who get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. They're most of them local fellas or people that have come from, I don't know, one guy that just signed someone tonight. They've said that dropped out of I think a League One or a Championship club's academy last summer, and has now gone to play for them. So for him, it means a lot to be able to play for a club like that. And I think they said that there was 466 spectators.
That was going to be my next question. What was the attendance like?
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was 466, but I think it was 433. I think they
433. It might be that. But
Yeah,
still over 400 people safely in the ground, all having a good time, and it was brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. I can't wait to do it again.
Fantastic. That.
I think that's a really good point that's been made there as well. And for anyone who is listening, I really do think this is an important detail. You hear about it's a 6th tier of football, 7th tier of football, and so on and so forth. The quality down there is a lot better than you think. It is a lot better than you think. Like, just because players aren't playing for Premier League or Championship sides and stuff, I think we're a bit guilty sometimes of thinking did he drop out from Gillingham? Did he? He's gone to non-league. He must be absolutely shitting. They're not. If us 5 were to play in one of those games, you'd fucking run rings around us. There's a lot of skill down there, and it's a mix between, obviously, you've got your journeymen who've been around the game for a long time, but then you've got, your old heads who've played at a much higher level in the career, and they've gone lower down to end the career. Yeah.
McNulty was in defence.
Or they've got players who, like you just said, Lee, dropping out of Championship League One sides, dropping out of the academies and stuff, and they're literally starting their career trying to work their way back up to the top level. So go and have a look at your local sides. I guarantee you that there'll be so much talent there that you're not even aware of. You'll watch these games and you'll see moments of brilliance. And you'll be so thankful that, you're literally right there next to the pitch watching really good football take place.
Mm-hmm.
From personal experience, I watched a lot of County a few years ago where Danny Lloyd, who was playing for them at the time, who ended up signing for Peterborough in League One. He moved from Conference North to League One because he'd had a season where he scored 24 goals and got 27 assists in one season. And you just sat there, like you said, I was speaking to him after the game because that's the level of intimacy that is in these lower league clubs. And obviously County is a bit different because they've got the 10,000 seater stadium and they are the sleeping giant of lower league football. But you still get that interaction with them. Like, if you could brighten up any of their players' day by just asking them a question. Yeah.
I think that another thing that came from going along as well is, as we were saying, there was 433 people or whatever it was in there. Now, fair enough, it was an open-air stadium, but most stadiums technically are open-air, so it just does beg the question that if Witten Albion in their league can get the coronavirus specifics right, then why can't a Manchester United or a Chelsea or even lower Championship League One clubs, why are we still not having fans back in grounds? And I saw a video of Legoland today, and oh my God, it absolutely rammed. So why is that allowed, but we're not allowed fans into these lower league clubs above the conference that are really struggling at the moment because they're not getting the gate receipts.
I can't even have them at conference level. It's conference.
It's ridiculous, absolutely
Down
ridiculous.
to tier 6, isn't it? So you've got your top 4 tiers, which is your football league, the conference, and then the level below that as well. So it's hitting.
Tier 6 below is fine.
And there's clubs in the championship that are struggling, and that's tier 2. Like there's probably a couple of clubs in the Premier League that are struggling.
I am not buying that Burnley are okay.
What, generally with money, or just like as a team, or
this is a location, to be honest. Like it's just rough,
as a part of the world.
Sean Dyche picked up. Honestly, he must have been walking on the street one day. He's picked up a fucking book from the 1950s, from a charity shop, like how to coach soccer. He's just said 4-4-2, bung it up, and he's gone, yeah, fuck it, yeah, I'll go for it, yeah.
Get this 6'7" New Zealander up front. That'll work.
Right. And on that note, bid be a fun farewell, lads. Everyone who's listening, go and support your local team. 40 for 15.